All right, I'm here with singer and songwriter and the father of my girlfriend, Ron Parks. How's it going, Ron?
Just fine, just fine.
Just fine, nice. So I've been looking forward to this conversation. I think there's a lot to talk about. Some things that were talked about at a recent get-together for Christmas that I thought would be interesting to explore, and just your story as well. I think, could be fun to talk about. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
So, you've been making music for close to 20 years now, putting it out. Is that right?
Right, right. After another 30 years of being a computer geek. So,
How did you go from computers to music?
you know, I've always been a big fan of music, but I never considered myself an entertainer. And then when I decided I was going to retire, I was trying to think about, what can I do? You got to do something. So I considered photography, just a lot of different things. But I've always liked music, and I just decided that it clear. What happened was I saw a movie of Marvin Gaye singing Distant Lover at the piano, and it sucked. And I was thinking, if they could take that and turn it into a real song, the song that I love, then maybe I can do it. So I tried it, and next thing you know, all these songs came out. I couldn't play anything, but I could hear it in my head. So I found people that could interpret it, and the rest is history. 10 CDs later.
Yeah. So you were already retired when you started recording?
Yes, that last year of working.
But were you involved in musical groups or singing at all growing up in Cincinnati?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I was a big fan of music. I loved the doo-wop. My friends and I got together. It was about 5 of us, and we had a little singing group we called Eddie and the Ain't Shits, because we couldn't sing, but we had a good time. So no, my father's a musician, but me, no, I never thought about it.
Really? You have just that iconic voice. I
had heard that all my career, but to me it just sounded like me. So I never, it never fazed me, and I never wanted to be a star anyway. So I just started doing music just to get it out of my head.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the interesting things that was talked about this past Christmas, was about fame and about what it does to people, and how you never wanted that. So can you just rephrase what you said? And
yeah, it's just when things go bad or get bad when you sign, and then people own you. I'm a family man, and I don't want to have to. If my daughter gets sick and they say, well, no, you have to do a show in Atlanta and blah, blah, blah. I just didn't want that. And then as a computer person, I work day and night, 14, 16 hours a day. So I know what it takes to make it. And I didn't want to work that hard again. I was retired. And tired is the big word. So I just wanted to have fun. So it was just cool to me to hear it, to see it come out on a CD. I just had fun. That's all I wanted to do, was have fun. I didn't want to, try to get rich. I wanted to be successful, but I didn't want to be famous.
The fame changes you, and it's, I think it's unfortunate that that's a true statement, that, people, I think that young people especially, and I can speak for myself, look at fame as kind of something to be coveted and to work towards. It's like you view success as being known and being loved. And I just wonder, was that part of your mindset? I know you weren't singing necessarily growing up as a young kid, but did that desire ever take hold of you growing up at all, or was that just never part of your psyche?
Never. I just wanted to enjoy what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. And how you grew up your whole childhood in Cincinnati, right? When did you come out to California?
The day after I graduated from high school. I got the hell out of there. As you know, my childhood was kind of mixed. You know, we were poor. We lived in the projects, but you know, I had fun, but I never felt like I fit. You know, I wanted to live the life I saw on TV. That's what got me out of the ghetto, was the TV. I wanted to live like that. So, and that was my goal. Not necessarily to be famous, but just have a nice house, nice wife, kids, and make money.
Yeah.
A salary, you know, not get rich, but have a nice salary.
So the influence of TV was part of your desire to come out to California, but just not from like being famous or being known.
No. I wanted to meet famous people,
mm-hmm.
but it just never dawned on me that I wanted to be famous. I figured I could, you know, I had a philosophy. I don't know. It's just, I was dyslexic growing up. I didn't know, I guess I still am. I didn't know I was, but I think dyslexic people tend to put things in logical steps, and it helps us get to where we want to go. And that's how I was able to go from 0 to a CD by just putting it down in logical steps. And that's how I did my career. That's how I did, you know, I've always thought about things in logic.
That's an interesting point. You know, you don't really think of creative people as being terribly logical.
Right.
But it is, it's a formula, right? It's just,
exactly.
You do A, then you do B, and then you get C. So.
Right. I always say you can't tell you if you're screwing up if you don't have a plan or a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I have all these little things that keep me in check. It's just worked for me.
Mm-hmm. How has being dyslexic affected you in terms of being creative? I mean, you're a really good writer. You know, you write poems. You have your Ronisms that you've shared and I've enjoyed. How has being dyslexic affected you in terms of being able to read what you've written, to write fluidly? Does that get in the way at all?
No, it gets in the way of maybe typing, or it does. I've looked at some of the stuff I've typed. I mean, I was doing business and I send emails to my team and I look at them the next day. It's like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And I have to apologize because it looks like it's, you know, I think it's right. Uh-huh. But, you know, letters are backwards, words are left out. So, but what it's done is help me slow down and look at things and take my time. So, and, you know, like I would do presentations. I'd write these because when I retired, I was director level in software. And I would do my presentations, but I couldn't read them, you know, on the board. When you know, you have a projector. It would just turn into, sometimes the words just look like symbols. They didn't look like words. So I would start, then I'd say, well, you can see what it says, you know. So yeah, I could write, but I just couldn't read out loud. That's why I couldn't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, people are always, oh, you should go in the radio and do commercials. But then you have to do cold reading. And we'd be there all day long if I had to do that.
So whenever you're singing your songs, are they already memorized and you're singing them? Or
yes.
Yes.
And if I try to look at the lyrics when I'm singing, then I get screwed up. So it's all memorized. It's like people who stutter. Mm-hmm. They can sing, but they can't talk. I think there's a rhythm or breathing that helps you. So yeah, I have to memorize all my songs.
And you handwrite them all?
I type them, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You do type them.
Yeah. Yeah, I start out with, if you're interested in that, I start out with a story or an idea, again, breaking things down in logical steps, and then I try to make it a real story. Like I don't do a lot of ribbon in the sky kind of lyrics. That kind of stuff is nice, but mine is more storytelling. Mm-hmm. More factual, could be factual. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm good at, I'm a good empath. And people think all my songs are true because they seem so real, but they're not. I just make them up.
Mm-hmm. They're sexy too.
I know. Yeah. I get that too. Yeah. But the first time I heard my voice, I just couldn't stand it. I hated it. Ugh. It just sounded just like me. But everybody liked it, so I said I'll go for it.
Whenever you heard the playback of your singing?
When I first started, yeah. Mm. Now I just like the songs. I like the songs that come out.
Did that ever change for you? Because I know for me, whenever I first started podcasting, it was really hard for me to listen to myself. And I was like, geez, that's what I sound like?
I know.
Sound like an idiot. It's weird how you sound different recorded than you sound in your own head when you're talking. But
right.
I personally, I feel as though the more I've done it, the more accustomed to my voice I've gotten. Has that been a similar thing for you? Yeah.
Yes. And I listen more to the song than I do listening to me. It's about the music. Mm-hmm. So I don't consider myself a singer at all. More of a crooner and a storyteller. Mm-hmm.
What kind of stories do you like to tell? I mean, I'll definitely link to some of your albums. I've been listening to some leading up to this conversation, but where do you feel comfortable in your storytelling?
Anything. It started when I used to go to these song reviews, where songwriters get together. I've joined a couple of songwriting organizations, and they go and they critique your songs. And one of the times I heard somebody say, we're sick of your love and your charms and in my arms. Give me a different story. So I just kind of make up stories or listen to someone else's story and then put it to a song. So I got songs about subdom, and I wouldn't do that kind of stuff. I mean, and songs about women being strong and at work but want to be feminine at home. Mm-hmm. I've heard women say that, so I just took it and wrote a song about it. So anything that pops in my mind, like there's a phrase that I was driving one time and cold flame popped in my head. So that's a cool phrase, cold flame, and what's cold, but it looks hot, and that kind of stuff. So like most songwriters say, you don't know where it comes from; it just pops in your head.
Mm-hmm. So you get an idea, maybe around a phrase or a specific thing you want to talk about, and then is it usually something short like that? Like cold flame is just 2 words, and it's not really a solid thing. It's not like, oh, this happened to me, Right. It's just it could be whatever you want it to be. So is that generally how your process starts, is with something small like that, and then you're left to figure out what it means?
Yeah. Then I come up with a story, then I turn it into a poem, then you take the poem and turn it into a song, and just go from there. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy that process. It's fun. Kind of like software, really. It's just you writing these lyrics is like writing code, as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Yeah.
How so? I mean, those two seem pretty different to me.
It comes from you have to put things together to make it work. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, I guess. You take these words and you make it come into a story. When you write code, you have an end goal in mind. You have to make this arm move or whatever you're writing the code for. Mm-hmm. And then when you make it work, it's very rewarding. And when I hear a song finished, it's very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Do you view the process, like, is there an end goal whenever you're writing a song? Do you see it that way, or is it more open-ended than writing code where you have, somewhere you're trying to get to? I know you're trying to get to a finished thought or a finished idea, but how do you view that like end game whenever you're starting a creative project like a song?
When I start the music, and see, I got into writing songs because I had a piano for my kids, and nobody wanted to take piano lessons. I tried to make them, so I used to sit down there and bang around on it. And every time, I come up with a nice little phrase on the piano, I couldn't play a song that already existed. So I used to tease that my piano was dumb. It didn't have all the songs. So I used to play these songs, and then I would make up lyrics to go with what I was playing. Mm. So then that's how I got into really songwriting, just trying to make my dabbling on the piano make sense. So, and then I could only play so far, then I'd get a real musician to play what I really meant to play. Mm. I write the story, and then I write the song. I mean, if the story's finished, then the song is finished. You can finish the song if you get the right, lines in it. I always have a bass line in mind or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I work with a guy who's really good. He's really good at interpreting what I want. He's a hell of a musician. So I've had two guys like that. And I've been meeting a lot of people that are they like my music. So I'm doing it right, I guess. Mm-hmm. And if I really wanted to at the time, I probably could have been famous. But again, like I said, I didn't want to. Mm-hmm. That wasn't important to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's whenever you take out that as the goal, I feel like it just makes the product better, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not putting pressure on yourself, because whenever you are chasing fame, you're really chasing the approval of others. So then whenever you're writing, you're not writing for yourself. You're thinking, what will the most people like? And it might not even be true to who you are.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So you started writing songs later in your life too, and you were recording them? I'm just surprised that's true, because I would consider you pretty prolific in terms of how much you write, and you're always sending us stuff to check out, writing about current events poetically, and it's just surprising to me that that wasn't part of your life growing up.
Same with software. I didn't know anything about software. Mm-hmm. Someone told me, I was working as a technician, and I heard the programmer say, "I'm going to work in the park today." I said, "Wait a minute, you got a job where you can just go work in the park?" I want a job like that. So I sat down and I started typing. I took typing in high school. So I started typing for one of the engineers. And I just started looking at the code and started writing code from it. I just picked it up. Mm-hmm. It was just a knack. I think like songwriting or anything else, software is a knack. And so I had the knack for it, and I went from zero to a full-fledged programmer just by taking, the logical steps. I guess I have that logical mind, because I never went to school for it. My training was in psychology.
That's right.
Yeah. So
did you ever, I'm sure that's useful when you're writing songs, but did you ever use that schooling in another way? Or because you spent time in the military as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So it helps me with making my songs logical. Like, I can't think of a situation right now, but sometimes, like this, I wrote a poem about suicide. Mm-hmm. I've never thought about suicide, but I've listened to people talk about it. I studied it in school, so, and then so when I write the lyrics, I draw from that.
That poem was after Anthony Bourdain. Is that right?
Who was it? No, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of comedians were committing suicide, and people you think were happy, So, and I know the signs of depression, So I kind of put all that stuff in the poem, and a lot of people identify with that. That's one of my most popular pieces of work.
Yeah. Those aren't online, are they, for people to find?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On YouTube, yeah.
Okay. Readings of them.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to link to those in the notes for this. There's a lot of our friends are excited to hear this one, so no pressure. Yeah, that's cool. I think it's cool how you take things in current events. The George Floyd incident last year was something that I think inspired you to do more writing, right?
Yeah.
Does that help you process events, and like, do you find that writing them out helps you understand them or, deal with them better? What encourages you to take things that you hear about like that and write about them?
It's a release, it's like a release valve, and let some of the pressure off. Because I'm not one to go. At this age, I'm not one to go out and storm the, the barricades and all that.
You weren't in Washington D.C. storming the Capitol?
No, I'm thinking more about Black Lives Matter, not those idiots that were out there. Not the mega dudes or MAGA dudes, whatever they are. I had my way of dealing with the strife of, because being in high tech, I was the only Black person around, usually in the company. So
when was this? Like what?
From the 70s to the 2000s. I mean, especially I was in smaller companies. I didn't want to be somebody's quota number at an HP or an IBM or something. I was always in the smaller companies where my contribution was important and I had to be good. And I don't know where I got the nerve to do that, because a lot of jobs I got, after I got the job, I said, oh, Lord, what have I talked myself into? I had the imposter syndrome bad. I had it really bad. But, it all worked. I'd have these big projects and big teams, and I got it to work. But it's like, when I retired, it's like, I got away with it.
Did you ever get over that? Did you ever get over that?
No. I'd go to these meetings and they had these big, long mahogany tables with all these dudes in there. And I'm sitting up there talking. I'm thinking, if somebody come in and said, Ron Parks, is that you? Get your ass out. I would have got up and walked out.
You'd be like, oh, you're right.
But, it worked. So I just believe, go for it. I just believe, that's why I tell these kids, just go for it. All you got to do is execute. And if you have a goal and a plan, you can get to where you want to go. I think if it's physically possible, I think you can do anything. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. The imposter syndrome is, anytime someone picks up something new, it's going to be a natural part of that process.
It works. I tell you, I'm living proof of that.
Yeah. Is that something you've ever dealt with in your creative career? I know you have played a live show, and you've mentioned before, I've heard you mention before that you feel like you shouldn't have done it, but you did.
I shouldn't. There is no way I should have done that show. No. I trust that I'm going to, I don't know. I could have got up there and just fainted, but I just figured, I don't know where the hell I got the nerve to do that.
But you got through it, and people say it was a great show.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I get a lot of compliments. I can't watch it, but it's like I said, I still get nervous now. I'm thinking about it. There's no way I should have done that. But again, I knew the music. At least I learned it. But I got up there and I forgot some of the lyrics. But the band keeps you going, you know. So it was, you know, it came out all right. But again, like I say, some of the jobs I've taken where I was chief architect, software architect. What the hell, Ryan? But I did it.
Yeah. And, you know, in that job, chief architect, you mentioned that you were like the only black person in some of these places.
Right.
Did you ever feel like your race was a difficulty or a challenge you had to face? Did you ever face racism in the workplace, or how did that, you know, what relationship did that play with your positions?
I think because once I got the job, now I'm sure there are jobs I didn't get, because there's one guy who used to call me. He used to get my resume about every 3 or 4 years. He'd call me in. He'd forget it was me. He liked my background, and he'd see me, and I never got the job. But no, I never. I think because my size, and I have the resting bitch face kind of. So people think I'm meaner than I am. And I don't like to get angry at work because I see people jump back like, oh God, he's going to kill me. So, but I think that has helped. And I never participated in Polak jokes or blonde jokes, because I know if you start laughing at that, then it's going to come around to you. And I didn't like my race being a punchline. So I, you know, maybe I could have been CEO if I had been, because I was really good at what I did. I really was. Again, I don't know where it came from, but I was really good at software. And so in a lot of places, there were stock options. And it's like, you may not like me, but you need me to get this project done. So you got to respect me. So it worked out for me. And I just figured you got to be good. If you're good, you don't have to put up with any shit. That's my belief. If
so
you fake it,
go ahead.
If you know you're just faking it and you're limping along, then you gotta start kissing butt. But if you're good at what you do, then people have to come around to you. And it worked for me. Yeah.
So it sounds like you don't really believe that being black held you back.
I don't know if I could have gotten further, but I was doing really well. You know, I could have been, a couple of times I probably could have been director of some of these larger companies. Like my last company, I probably could have been a director, but it was very political. And it was like, you know, 15,000 people in the company. And, you know, I just didn't want to get into that. But some of the people I knew in that company shouldn't have been in that position. So, but I think it may have held me back, but I didn't feel it. You know, I didn't want to be director at that company. So.
That's interesting. It's so, you know, there's a common thread there that's maybe worth exploring more, of just being happy with what you have in a way, where it seems like, you know, you just said with your software position, you could have been director, but you didn't want it. And I'm assuming that was because you felt happy with your current position and challenged enough with what you were already doing. And that kind of continued, it sounds like, with your musical career, where you're just doing it because you love doing it, and there's no envy for what could have been.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's because then you're, I don't know, if you're trying to again achieve something that's either out of your realm or out of your control, then it gets to be frustrating. And I didn't, like I say, I didn't get into the my last company. I didn't get into the higher levels because I could see what it was like. It was really political, really backstabby, really, you know, I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. But the other director jobs I had, I liked it because I enjoy coaching people. That was my management style. I was a coach. I believed in hiring good people, trusting them, and letting them do their job, and then just guide. Mm-hmm. If you weren't good, I didn't want you. I'd kick you off the team.
But no mercy.
No mercy. I mean, because it's about, it's like a football team, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I learned that in the service.
Okay.
That teamwork, that depending on your buddy and trusting that he can do his job, and then I need to do my job.
Mm-hmm. So you think that, I guess I am curious about where that mindset comes from. Does that, the being happy with what you have and working hard, is that all from the service? Is that from your childhood?
I think it's from childhood, because I could have been screwed up if I didn't feel like I maintained control. Because like I said, we were poor. I was the oldest, so I was the de facto babysitter for everybody, so for the nephews and my brothers and sister. So it's just, you got to make the best of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not Pollyanna about it, where, mm-hmm. But I just try to figure that just sitting around moping and complaining is not going to get you anywhere. Mm-hmm. What is the plan to get out of it? Mm-hmm. So my plan was to join the service. And that's why I joined. I could have got a football scholarship, but one, I've never known anyone at that time to go to university. I remember thinking the president went to the university and I'm not as smart as the president. So I just joined the Navy. I just, day after high school, boom, off to see the world. Mm-hmm.
Was poverty the biggest difficulty you faced growing up? I guess I'm curious about what your childhood was like in more detail.
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of responsibility young. Mm-hmm. So my mother had me when she was 18. So she still was, going out. And so I was stuck with the kids, with my brother and sister at a very young age. But I had to depend on myself. Mm-hmm. So when I had a chance, I left. But I still had a sense of family. Mm-hmm. I don't know where all that stuff came from. I just had a sense of family. I had the sense of, even though my father wasn't there, I had a sense of what a father should be. Mm-hmm. I'm lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. It says a lot about you, because something that I've been interested in lately and wondering about is like the role of fathers in homes. There's a lot of statistics out there that show how much more likely people are, particularly young men, to get into trouble or to become depressed or suicidal or whatever whenever there's no father around. And I think it's really interesting how you were able to overcome that and create the life that you had envisioned for yourself.
Yeah, I think it was like when I was a manager, I wanted to be the manager I would want to work for. So I would want to be the father that I wanted to be the son of. Mm. It's not always fun and games, but I even wrote a song about it. Mm. Daddies Need Huggins. I don't know if you heard that. But it's about how, fathers are, everybody's mad at him when he does his job, but, everybody counts on him when things go bad, Mm-hmm. And I just figured, again, having a plan, if I always say, you do your best, you love them, and then you probably be right 80% of the time, and 20%, then 20% of the time you let the shrink fix that. So,
it's a Ronism.
So But yeah, it's I don't know where it came from. It might, they say Pisces are intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where it came from.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like you were close to danger growing up? Did you ever feel enticed to become involved with things that might have taken you down a different life path? Was there any,
Oh yeah, there's times I was doing things I shouldn't be doing and didn't get caught. So I never got into the system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. We didn't shoot and kill and all that kind of stuff, But there were things that could have gotten me thrown in jail that I could have done. That I did.
And yeah, go ahead.
But I didn't get caught. So
yeah.
And a lot of times, even when we used to fight, I used to feel sorry for the people I would beat up. I just wanted to. That just wasn't me.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a badass. I wasn't a mean person. When I got angry, I was scary, I guess. But I didn't like that. I wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
So.
It sounds like you had some sort of moral compass in you that kind of made you, recognize when you were doing something you didn't want to do.
Right. And to me, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to tell the kids that it's one thing to do wrong and not know it. But, at least if you're going to do wrong, at least know it's wrong. Mm-hmm. If you're going to steal from your friend, don't justify it and think it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Know it's wrong. And that was I had this voice that would keep me kind of, not literally, but I was good at observing what I was doing.
Mm.
And if it was wrong, it's like, okay, well, I'm ready. You can't cry over the consequences. Like when I had a heart attack, I didn't say, oh God, I was smoking, when you smoke, that's what you got to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at peace with it.
Where does that come from? How did you?
I guess they're lucky.
Yeah.
I guess I was just lucky.
Were you religious growing up at all?
No, still not. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting to me. Just like, where does that voice come from? Who instills that in people, and why in some people is it a louder voice than in others? And, I think you made a good point about being lucky, not getting caught. I feel like obviously that the system is really designed to keep people coming back to it,
Right.
And that's definitely plays a part in it. But there's also got to be a difference between people in terms of how loud that voice is. And just wonder, for me, religion was a part of my growing up, and I think that played a role in terms of just me knowing right from wrong. And so, I just wonder if you have any sense of where your moral compass came from and how it was, played a part in you staying out of trouble.
No, I was afraid of my mother, so I didn't want to. Matter of fact, I remember one time I was in school and I was walking with a friend of mine, and this girl was bending over, drinking at the water fountain. He patted her on the butt, and I pointed at him because she was pissed, and he pointed at me, and so we had to go to the principal. And my mother worked in the lunchroom at the time, and so the principal was going to call her over, and I didn't want to have to be standing there with my mother talking about patting some girl on the butt. So I took the swats. At the end, we used to get swats those days.
Oh, from the principal?
A vice principal. Mm. So rather than face her, I just took the swats. To me, it was easier to take the swats. But I don't remember her giving me any moral speeches or. I just did it on my own.
Just a learn by doing kind of thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just figured it out. Even I was just like you say, I didn't even, not having a father. None of my friends had fathers at the time, but I saw Donna Reed, Father Knows Best. You know, it's just, I don't know. I guess that's where I got it from.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job as a father to Lauren. I can speak from being close with her.
That's Daddy's baby.
How did you become such a good father to her without an example in your childhood?
I knew that a lot of the girls dancing on poles had problems with their fathers. That the father wasn't there or the father was weak. So a weak father is just as bad as a father not being there. So I was going to be a loving father. Probably loved them too much. They probably got on their nerves, but they weren't going to be looking for daddy love. I tell you that. They done had enough of that. So.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories of Lauren growing up. We don't need to go into the details of what happened necessarily, but she always talks about the time where you canceled Christmas.
No, that's an urban legend. I didn't cancel Christmas. They used to joke saying that I was, oh yeah, Christmas is canceled. They used to tease that I was a big authoritarian. I didn't care about the kids. I didn't want to be their friend. If they came to my house, they knew they were going to be safe. I wasn't going to give them any alcohol. I wasn't going to put up with any crap from them. So they saw me as this probably grumpy old man, but I didn't care. I wanted to be an authority figure, somebody they could trust, and being your buddy is not good for kids. They don't. I didn't need a 12-year-old buddy, but they needed a strong man, because a lot of these fathers, well, not a lot, but a couple of times the fathers would call me up, or the mothers would call me up and say, "Are you gonna let Lauren do so and so?" I say, "No." Okay. It's like, we're gonna blame you, is what it turned out to be. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't want to have to look back and say, "Oh, I wish I had a." That's another thing I used to tell myself. I don't want to say that. Let me do it now and deal with it. So.
Yeah. Go ahead. Did you have something more to add?
No, I enjoyed being a father. I really, to me, it was something. You have control over this person's life. You can make this person. You can turn into a Jeffrey Dahmer, or you can make them dance on the pole, or you can make them happy. Just my goal was to have fun, and Lauren didn't have. Her brother was gone, so I had to be the father and the big irritating brother. So, but we used to lay down and sing songs together and make up songs before she go to bed.
Well, too bad she didn't get your singing voice.
I will not answer.
Yeah, she definitely didn't receive those genes. But yeah, I think that you're, it's cool that you have a lot of different, I don't know if one-liners are the way to look at it, but basic mantras for dealing with life that you've put down into the Ronisms.
Yeah. And I use them too. Use them. Yeah.
Do you have a couple on the top of your head you could share?
I remember one is, don't talk down to people that look up to you. That was one of my management goals.
Are you still planning to put those into a book or something, or release those?
Kinda. I mean, the way I look at it, if I wanted to do it, I would have done it. And when people say, "Oh, I want to do something," but I just haven't gotten around to it. And it hasn't been a priority. I looked into it. I just don't know how to get it published, or you wind up spending a lot of money, giving people, by self-publishing, and they rip you off. Mm-hmm. I had looked into it, but if I ever run into, like when I was down in LA having fun with music, I met people that I could have used, but now I'm back in the Bay Area. I don't. I enjoyed LA, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. You were there for how many years? Like 2 or 3? Is that right?
Two.
Yeah. And that was to do the music thing, right?
Yeah. I was going back and forth, and, I was retired, and, my wife was still working, and, she's come home tired, and I want to talk. It's just like, it's like, she said, why don't you do your music? So I said, well, I was going back and forth. I said, I'll just stay down here and come back, home, once a month. So.
What was that experience like, being retired and, a little older and being in LA trying to do music?
Oh, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
My first contract, the guy gave me, he said he wanted all of my work I've done up to now, all the work I'm going to do forever. He wants to own it. And I said, wait a minute, what kind of contract is that? He said, well, some people sign it because they want to get famous. And, I told him, no, I don't need that. So, but anyway, he got me into a lot of shows, and I met the Motown people, which to me was, that was my dream come true. Berry Gordy and Mary Wilson and some of the Temptations, and I was in heaven. And a couple of people wanted to produce me. I told them, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be a star. Now I want you to take my song and you go sing it. But I don't want to be a star.
Yeah. Were those the types of people you were listening to growing up, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah. Motown was, I'm surprised I didn't become a Motown groupie. But, like I said, music, the first thing I remember wanting to be before I joined the service was a airline mechanic. I just thought that was cool. I never thought about, definitely didn't think about computer. Matter of fact, I could have taken a computer rating in the Navy, but I thought computers were over my head. I didn't know anything about computers. I had never even seen a computer. So they were kind of new then anyway. That's back in the day, Junior.
Yeah, that's predates me for sure. Grown up with computers.
Yeah.
Well, that must be cool then to be, I mean, it's cool that, you're in the latter parts of your life and able to pursue this new thing, get to meet a lot of the people you looked up to growing up or listened to. And I think that's just a really valuable thing to take away, is that, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you can't do something new or do the things you wanted to do.
Yeah. It goes to, again, what I was saying, you can do anything if you make a plan. Like it was my furthest, I never thought I could ever meet anybody from Motown. And then when I started getting into music, I said, I want to meet people from Motown. So I met a guy who liked my music, and he was into the Motown thing. He used to be a Motown producer. So he said, come on down, Ron, we go to this party and blah, blah, blah. So it's just, and then that's part of your plan. So you take advantage of it, and then once I was there, it's like, or like when I first saw Disneyland or Blue Water, all that kind of stuff, I always wanted to see that as a kid. And then when I do it, it's like, whoa, man, all you got to do is want to do it. And you can do it if you want to do it. Now you can say like, oh, I want to quit smoking, but you don't stop. You don't want to. Or I want to lose weight, but you don't stop eating. Right? But when you want to, you can. And so if you're telling yourself you want to do something and you're not doing it, then you don't want to do it. You want to do what you're doing. So I have that conversation with myself all the time. When you
go ahead.
When you can bullshit yourself, it's not good when you can bullshit yourself.
Yeah, the setting of the intention and taking the steps to actually do it. You know,
Execute. I call it executing. You got to execute.
Mm-hmm. Form the plan, and then you execute the steps you can.
Right. Like a friend of mine was, I was working with on music. He wanted to travel the world and be a star. Then he gets this big ass dog. I said, man, how if you want to be a star and travel, you can't travel with that dog. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I didn't think about that. It's like, you know, you got to look at things as it's a part of your plan. How does it fit into the plan? Mm-hmm. So if he had this plan land out, he would know that's not a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference between having a dream and actually working towards a goal. You know, you can sit around and dream all day, and I'm definitely guilty of doing things like that. Like the writing is something that I always get trapped into this thing of thinking about writing more than actually writing. You know,
right.
I want to write a book. Well, all you do is sit around and think about it, and you don't actually do it. It's just gonna be something. Yeah. It's never gonna materialize.
Yeah, one of my Ronisms is, if you don't execute your dreams, you're still asleep. You know, you have to wake up and execute. And and another one that comes to me is, if that's not your goal, then get a goal you can execute. You know,
the idea of making small goals for you whenever it came to time to retire and thinking about music, what were your goals like? Like, how small did you set them? And were you thinking about larger goals too? Or was it really just focusing on, I'm going to get this done and not worry about the rest? Like, how did you orient yourself to what needed to be done?
I just figured out, just broke it down. Like I said, I was good at breaking down things in logical steps. Mm-hmm. Like when I said I was going to do a CD, first I had to learn formats of song. How's a song formatted? Mm-hmm. And if you listen to music a lot, you can tell when a change is coming, mm-hmm. or you can get to the bridge about, you know. So I knew that feel, and I looked at something, and then it had, you know, A B, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I looked that up, and just from listening from songs, I could tell, I could get the feel. Just like I taught myself how to drive a standard shift by listening to my uncle's car when he changed gears, you know. Mm-hmm. So I taught myself how to do that just from listening, you know. So that's a different way of learning, right? So just whatever. I think, again, dyslexic people, I don't know, I don't want to think we're special, but maybe we are. We tend to find different ways of learning. Mm-hmm. And I found a lot of people that are in charge of companies and really high positions are dyslexic, mm-hmm. because they're good at doing that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so what I did was I just start, and I knew I had to find a real musician. So I joined a songwriting class or organization, and they had musicians in there. When I said I could take your song and turn it into, you know, your idea, turn it into a real song. Mm-hmm. So I went from that, and then I looked up how you get a CD, you know, manufactured. It's all on, you know, it's all online now. Mm-hmm.
So were you just thinking about it as, I'm going to get a song recorded, or you were already thinking, I want to put together an album?
I think I was starting with a song. Mm-hmm. And then I said, whoa, that sounds good. And then I had another song. And then I didn't even think about selling it. I was just want to put it together. And then the musicians I would bring in, like a guitar player, because I had more money then. I was making, you know, corporate money at that time. Mm-hmm. So I could bring in the big guys. They enjoy playing my music. They like that old school grown folks music. Mm-hmm. So I got a lot of contacts out, and they gave me a good price to play on my CDs because they like doing it. They always wanted me to call them back. So it just snowballed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely value in that start in breaking things down into smaller parts and just pursuing that. I mean, that's something I've been trying to do with the writing is instead of thinking about it as writing a book, it's like, well, no, just come up with an idea, write about that, finish writing about it, and then come up with another idea.
Right.
And then
the thing is a start.
Yeah.
Once you start, it flows. The biggest thing is just taking that first step and getting into it.
Was it difficult for you to take the first step once you retired? You just got right into it?
Yeah, I just got into it. It's not difficult. If you want to do it, you just do it.
Do you have any other plans for more music? I think what's the last album? Songs for the Third Date. Right?
That's Music for the Third Date. Yeah, that was the last one. I got a bunch of stuff. I'm doing covers now, and I'm going back and redoing my some of my first songs. Because when I first started, my co-producer was really he was a good musician. He played with Tony and Sly Stone. He played with a lot of people. Nice. So he's really a gifted musician. But it's he's trying to do recordings, and he did my recordings, and they don't sound that good. The original song I gave him is not what came out. So I'm going back and doing some of my originals. Just like I said, I just want to hear them the way I did them. And so I may come up with. I had one idea, Ronnie Smooth on the covers, or something like that. I don't know who gave me that name, but that kind of stuff. It just, like I say, I'm just piling them up. But I do them to listen to them. That's why I really do them, to listen to them. Because it's like, whatever your favorite song is, what if you wrote that song? That's how I look at it. So most of my songs, 99% of my songs, I'm a fan of the song, not necessarily me, but a fan of the song. And like I said, a lot of ladies like it. One time I sang. I was visiting a friend of mine in Hawaii, who was a sax player, and he made me get up and make up something. He was playing a little groove, and I started. I don't know if I was doing poetry or singing. And this lady came up to me and showed me she had big old goosebumps on her arm. She said, "Oh, you give me goosebumps." I said, "Wow." But still, all right, lady, that was your goosebumps. I'm not going to be a star. I don't care.
How does that feel though to know that something you created for yourself is resonating with other people?
It's kind of like your kids. It's good that when you see your kids are doing well. It's like, oh, I created this thing. Now it's doing great. People like it. It's doing well. So it's not like, oh, I'm a star. It's like I've created this thing, and it's an entity in itself, and people like it. So, and if they don't, like Smokey Robinson says, the first thing you got to develop as a songwriter is thick skin, because everybody's not going to like what you do. So I've taken that to heart.
Do you have any poems or anything nearby that you could read for us, or I don't want to put you on the spot?
No. Like I told you, I can't read. If I said I can read, you say that dude's illiterate. What the hell?
You read one in at Christmas. I forget what the exact theme was, but I remember it was very funny.
Oh, that was Santa Brother.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Instead of Santa Baby, you have a Santa Brother. Let me see if I got it right here. I got my.
Yeah.
Okay, what inspired this poem? I was going to turn it into a song right now. It's just a poem. The song Santa Baby, hurry down the chimney tonight. So I wrote this one called Santa Brother. So it's the dude's version of that song. Okay, here we go. Santa Brother, I believe in you. Times around here have been tough. I haven't been good, but I've been good enough. Why don't you bring me a Lambo as red as a cherry and set me up with a date with Halle Berry? Give me a ticket with numbers that to win. Then I'll buy a big house with a pool I can jump in. Santa brother, I believe in you. Times around here have been tough. I haven't been good, but I've been good enough. Hey, Santa, give me a gas card for my new wheels. Give me an unlimited supply of little blue pills. Open my bank account with money I can spend. Oh, the pills aren't for me. They're for a friend. Santa brother, I believe in you. Times around here have been tough. I haven't been good, but I've been good enough. Hey, Santa, bring me a 2-carat diamond for each of my ears. And could you cover all my bills I have in the rears? I don't want to sound mean or rude, but could you bring my lady a new attitude? Santa brother, I believe in you. Times have been tough. I haven't been good, but I've been good enough. So that's it. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got so far.
I love that. I love that how it's fun. You know, that's something that I think is present in a lot of your songs. You know, there's plenty of songs that are very like sexy and serious, but then, you know, like Cock of the Walk. Like there's other songs that are just fun. You know.
Yeah, a lot of my songs are tongue in cheek, and that's kind of my personality. You know, just the tongue in cheek.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna turn that into a song still? Is that still the plan?
I might. You know, I got a lot of stuff like that. I put in my work in progress folder. So you see, I have a chorus there. Mm-hmm. If it was a poem, I wouldn't be repeating the you know, the chorus.
Yeah, you got to come out with the Christmas album, A Very Smooth Christmas.
I know, but people have been saying I should do that. I might do it. I might do it.
Yeah,
I did a Jingle Bells. Ronnie Smooth Jingle Bells. That's really good. That's online.
So all these, the stuff that you've put online is all at the same YouTube, right? Ron Parks YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, you know, I got SoundCloud and then my stuff is for sale on iTunes. And so it was cool. One thing, it was cool. A friend of mine just called me and he was saying that he was looking for a Frank Sinatra tune on iTunes. I don't know what category he put in. He put some kind of category. And Frank Sinatra was number 1. Michael Bublé was number 2. I think Lady Gaga was the next. And then my song, I Think About You, was my picture came up. He said, you were in the same list with the Frank Sinatra. Well, all right.
That's
now,
cool.
that was cool. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, and your stuff's also on Spotify for people who want to.
Yeah,
6 of them are, I think.
Yeah, so you know that's kind of cool. You know, it's more wow kind of than you know bragging rights. It doesn't feel like bragging rights. It's like it's you know again it's me, right? They don't know this is just me on there. I'm no real entertainer. This is plain old Ron Parks.
Yeah. It's I love seeing my stuff on Spotify too. It's just a cool feeling to be on there.
And I want to say, man, I'm proud of your stuff. It's really professional. You know, you got it, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I owe you a debt of gratitude for hooking me up with equipment and giving me insight into how to use it properly. So yeah, thank you.
It's fam.
Yep. Not official by law, but close enough.
Just as strong.
Yeah.
Maybe even stronger.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking for an hour and 15 already. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you wanna add that you feel like we missed.
No, the big thing to me is execute. I got young guys I talk to all. They say, man, that's the most important piece of information you gave me because I knew guys were talented. I mean, even in LA, these guys were 10 times the musician and songwriters I am. But they never, the guy said, man, you got 9 CDs and you just been doing this for a few years. I don't have one. And it's all about execution. And that's what I want to get across to people.
Yeah.
Execute. Plan and execute. It's not that hard. You can do anything.
Yeah, I guess that made me think of something else that's worth asking is sometimes something that holds people back, me included, from doing things that I want to do is you put pressure on yourself to get it perfect or to get it just right. And I wonder how you deal with that. Are you a perfectionist in what you do, and what advice do you have for people who are?
I have to be satisfied. I don't know if I'm a perfectionist. I have to be satisfied. But, if you don't do it, you can't improve it. It's not going to come out perfect. So not doing it, that, to me, that's an excuse not to do it. Do it and then fix it and then fix it again. But start. The thing is start. I remember one of the houses I had, I kept saying, I want to paint. I never did paint. So I took a brush, dipped in a paintbrush, and threw it on the garage door. Now you got to do it. So the thing is to start. That's come up with a plan and start. Even going down the wrong path, you can find out, oh, this is wrong. I need to go this way. Like when I used to do my design of software, I'd be the first one on the whiteboard saying, doing it wrong helps us get to where it's right. But you got to start. Execute.
Well, I think that's a great place to end it.
Okay. End at the start.
Yeah.